right. So this week in the DC universe, I read a whole bunch of stuff. So the first book I want to highlight is Superboy, Man of Tomorrow. This was written by Kenny Porter, who I've never read any of his work, so I was kind of curious to see what he was capable of here with a Superboy book. And John Oy Lindsay, once again, never seen the art of this artist. But nonetheless, the story wasn't too bad. Would I call it one of my favorite Superboy stories ever? Yeah, probably not. I could do without this one. But every time I see Superboy, Connor, his own title specifically, I want to make sure I go out of my way and support the character, because it seems like it's been several years he hadn't had his own book for a little while. I'm not counting that New 52 one because that was a whole different character, and I think they've just killed off at this point. But nonetheless, in Man of Tomorrow, Superboy Connor, he's back in the regular continuity officially now, ever since the Bendis Young Justice, and he gets a chance to shine on his own. But that's the thing, he wants to shine on his own because he feels lost in the shuffle, hanging out with a very extended Superman family now. Now, in the other books, there's like two kids that are with Superman. There's John Kent, there's Supergirl, there's Steel and Aziz operating Steelworks. So there's a lot of characters operating just in Metropolis right now when it comes to the Superman family. So Superboy still wants to do good. Like the first issue opens, he's trying just to save the day, and he gets beat there by like 4 other super people. So he decides to team up with Kellex, that robot. He kind of just stays at the Fortress of Solitude, make sure it's nice and safe. He goes there, takes a teleport device, kind of like Captain Jack Harkness and Doctor Who. He can just teleport anywhere with this device. So he just goes into space where he's needed, and he comes across this group called the Cosmeteers. He thinks they're doing good in the universe, but then they start using lethal force and getting in trouble with the Green Lantern Corps, which are 2 big no-nos, especially with the super family person in your group. So the story kind of just takes off from there. There's the main leader of the Cosmeteers is definitely an antagonist, to the point where he even stole a sample of Superboy's blood when he wasn't paying attention and created his own Superboy clone, which was coming to the end of the story. And yeah, of course, shenanigans happen. The bad guy officially turns bad. The Green Lantern Corps shows up and tries to help Superboy stop them, but in the process, a Green Lantern dies, and there's no return with the Cosmeteers from there. The guy is the main leader of it, just completely bad, so Connor goes out of his way to try to stop them. And of course, in stopping him, the bad guy ends up getting killed and puts his brain in a cyborg version of this clone. So now we have a cyborg Superboy running around because of this book, basically. But nonetheless, it was still a lot of fun seeing Connor in his own title again. I would still recommend the John Teen Titans run, or even the Jeff Lemire pre-New 52 run if you're looking for something good with Connor in it. But this was just a nice, return to form for the character. Hopefully we will see more in the future for sure. Next up, I read some Green Lantern by Jeremy Adams and Germanico. Once again, Jeremy Adams is another writer I wasn't super familiar with. I haven't read too much of his work. But I just want to start to get back in some of the core characters that I've enjoyed over the years. And I had to see what Hal Jordan was up to. And the reason I highlighted issue 4 in this slide, because I actually started with issue 4 because I thought Peter Tomasi started writing on this book, but he actually just wrote the backup story called Wayward Son, which involves Sinestro's kid operating on their home planet. So that was kind of cool, actually, but I did want to highlight some fun stuff in the story, because apparently the last decade plus, it doesn't seem like, from my perspective, it's been kind to the Green Lanterns. Because ever since Jeff Johns kind of stepped down, and guys like Robert Venditti stepped up, and even Grant Morrison, honestly, I just haven't enjoyed too much Green Lantern. I just felt like I'm either lost in the shuffle, or there's just so much going on I can't keep track. But at least this story kind of ground Hal on Earth. Apparently the Green Lantern Corps, like the main Earth sector ones, are all kind of condemned to Earth without rings. But the willpower is so strong that they can actually still operate the power of the Green Lantern. So that's why they can still operate, but they can't just fly into space and all that fun stuff. There are a couple flashbacks to show you how we got from the Guardians to this new group running the Green Lantern. So just the Guardians, they're kind of done for, so they gave the Green Lantern Corps to a new group that I don't know too much about yet. But one of my favorite scenes is where they're talking to the Earth Sector Green Lanterns and they're reassigning them because Hal's stuck on Earth, and I believe Jon Stewart is as well. But guys like Guy Gardner, for instance, who wants to be really lippy with the new guys in charge, their first order for him is, we need you to take care of a problem in the cosmos that has gone far too long without solving. We need you to go take down Lobo. And all of a sudden he changes it to, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm in, bye. And he just goes and is ready to go fight Lobo. So that was probably my favorite part, even though he's only in like one page this whole run so far. That was my favorite scene, is just Guy Gardner is going to go fight Lobo, and we can't wait to see it. But there's just a lot of other fun things going on in this. Like the story of issue 4, I believe it was issue 4, at least, opens with Sinestro, and he's just kind of trapped there too. Like, his ring's powerless, so he's looking for any horsepower he can get. He's just like, Hal, I need that ring. I can harness the willpower of the Green. That's where I started. And Hal's like, I'm not giving you anything. Like, come on. And then he makes Sinestro so mad he's actually able to tap in to the Red Lantern Force, so the power of rage. So he has to fight Sinestro full-on rage powers. I really like that issue, so I'm definitely going to be adding this to the digital pull list, if you will. So I really enjoyed my time with Green Lantern. Next up's The Flash. I only had a chance to read a couple issues of The Flash. I saw Mike Deodato Jr. was the artist on it, so I definitely want to check it out for Deodato's art, because I really like it. He actually hits up my sketchbook, so shout out to Mike Deodato Jr. Always liked his work. It definitely doesn't disappoint in this title. Like, he is the star of this book, in my opinion. Not that the writing's bad or anything, but I can't remember the colorist's name, but him and the colors, it's some of the best Deodato work I think I've seen for quite a while. Cy Spurrier, once again, need to read some more of his work. It seems to be the common thread here with me hopping back into DC after kind of a long hiatus. But this book was kind of awesome because Wally West is your Flash in this book. So I'm not sure what all's going on with Barry. He actually popped up at the end of issue 2 and kind of like a weird dark scene. And he's sitting on a park bench and there's like some aura in the sky. I'm not sure what's going on there because I haven't read past issue 2. But Wally West is your Flash, so you kind of get to know his family again. Like, Linda Park is his wife. They have 3 kids together now, so they have the Tornado twins. They have a newborn. So you finally get to see this family dynamic brought back into Flash. That was kind of at the end of the Mark Waid, the Jeff Johns stuff, and that whole run that was sort of lacking in the recent Barry Allen stuff. So I always enjoy seeing that with Wally. Plus, it's the Flash I grew up with, was Wally West. So I really enjoyed seeing Wally West back. And I don't know what happened with the Heroes in Crisis and the Death Metal Wally and all that stuff, but this is the same Wally West as that. So I'm kind of glad we're glancing over that because I hated all of that. That's what got me out of reading some of these books to begin with. But we're going to press forward. I think I'm going to add this to my pull list as well because there's a lot of cool just things that Cy Spurrier's planning in. Like, for instance, his kids go to school with Animal Man's daughter. I'm like, that's Maxine, and it's going to be Animal Woman, according to the Swamp Thing Green Hell. So hopefully that wasn't just an Easter egg. We get to see Animal Man eventually. The more Animal Man, the better in the DC universe. And yeah, there's a lot of Gorilla Grodd stuff so far, too. Apparently he's really fast, but then Flash is also tapping into this like negative speed force, or the stillness, I believe is what they call it. So yeah, really interested to see what happens in issue 3 going forward. The next book, this might be my pick of the week, is this next book, and I kind of didn't anticipate this. This might be my favorite Titans book I've read since the John stuff I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Superboy. But we have Titans, written by Tom Taylor and artist Nicole Scott. So, and of course, great typo there, Carson. We'll just ignore that and press forward. We got Titans #1, written by Tom Taylor. So we have a good writer with a veteran artist. The Titans have taken over the spot that the Justice League occupied all these years in the DC universe. The post-Dark Crisis, the Justice Leaguers have decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and take a back seat. The Titans, you guys can run things now because right now you're probably the better superhero team. And you guys are awesome. And actually, surprisingly, my MVP in this book, because it's a team book, might be Beast Boy, which I never thought I'd be saying, because usually, like, on the cover here, my favorites would probably be like, Wally or Nightwing or Starfire, but there's a great relationship between Beast Boy and Raven that goes throughout this first arc of the book I read. And you get to see, and they actually, we were talking about Swamp Thing earlier, they actually make the new Swamp Thing, I believe his name is Levi Kamei, I need to read that whole run too. They make him an honorary member of the team down the line when he helps them after like a natural disaster on an island. He actually goes through the island and helps it repopulate it with plant life using the green. So that was a really cool issue. But there's a lot going on story-wise to lead into the next book I'm going to talk about. So Brother Blood, he is now masquerading as a character named Brother Eternity, and he has basically kidnapped Tempest using spores, and he mind controls them and whatnot. So of course, when Brother Blood and the Titans butt heads, they're going to butt heads, of course. They know not to trust him whatsoever. So there's that going on. There's also this murder mystery going on where the dead body is Wally West the Flash. So because time travel is wibbly wobbly and all that stuff, Wally West from the future runs back in time. You find his corpse, and they call Linda like, "Oh my God, Wally's dead." But then Wally shows up. The present day Wally is like, "Well, what is happening here? Like, why is my body there?" So then they're obsessed with keeping Wally safe. They're trying to stop Brother Blood Flash Eternity. And then that actually leads into the next book, Titans Beast World by Tom Taylor and Ivan Rice. Once again, Tom Taylor, good on the writing. Ivan Rice, awesome artist. I've liked him since the Green Lantern stuff. So happy to see he's still finding great work. So this kind of connects into one big story, except there's a lot of spin-offs in Beast World, which I'm probably going to skip out on, because the first one I checked out was the Amanda Waller one. And I'll tell you guys, like I usually don't like to, say a lot of negative things about comic art because I can't draw a lick, but this art was so bad I could barely understand which character was which. So I won't go into that book any further. It was just not for me. That's all I'll say about that. But the actual mainline Beast World title combined with the Titan stuff is really cool. Basically, Brother Eternity decides to wake up this beast on another planet. It is only comparable to Starro, which that's how it was stopped to begin with. It actually had to get fought by Starro to be defeated. So what happens is they can either go look for Starro, which no one wants to do, to fight this incoming beast that's going to hit planet Earth, or Garfield, Beast Boy, has a better idea. He's just like, I think I can turn into a Starro. And they're just like, okay, so Cyborg has to help him do that, which, by the way, I would say my only negatives of the Titans run so far is Cyborg is just there. He has minimal dialogue. He's mostly in background. If you like Cyborg, you probably, if he's your favorite Titan, you're probably going to be slightly disappointed in some of this. But I think he's going to have a little bit more to do after this Beast World stuff. But anyway, he has to help Gar turn into Starro. That's why Cyborg has to teleport him into space. And he becomes Garo. So Garo fights this giant space monster and defeats it, sends it packing. But then out of complete nowhere, this Dr. Hate, which I don't know if it's supposed to be a mutated Dr. Fate or the brother of Dr. Fate, I don't know, but a Dr. Hate shows up on the orders of Amanda Waller. And pretty much, I don't know if he kills Beast Boy's soul or turns it off or what, but he pretty much makes it so Garo is planting beast spores all over the world, kind of like Starro would rain down terror on the Earth masses. So that just creates chaos on Earth. So the Titans have to split their forces, like Donna, Troy, and Raven have to try to stop Garo. Everybody else is trying to fight each other. Batman turns into a wolf for some reason. It's just all out chaos, and so far I'd say it's very good. It's very well handled by Tom Taylor. Like I said, sometimes some of the characters in the Titans have to take a back seat. But there was a lot going on, a lot of cool story beats. So I'm really looking forward to reading more of the Titan stuff. I think another issue just dropped today on Infinite, Ultra, whatever it's called, the best tier of DC. So I'll definitely have to check out the latest issue, because I wasn't planning on reading them all, and I just sat down and read both Mainline Titans and the Beast World stuff all in one sitting. I was so engaged in what was going on. So I feel like it's been a little while since a DC book, let alone a Titans book, has done that for me. But I say this is probably my favorite Titans run since the Jeff Johns stuff. So if you guys have any other DC reads, definitely drop them in the chat. Drop them down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys are enjoying from the DC universe right now, because I think there's definitely doing a lot of good. So let me know what I need to read next.